Hey guys, welcome to Approach the Nerd. It is Maria Park, and I got my boy here all the way from Japan, Joe from Joe's Geek Show. Please like and subscribe to his channel. And we are doing our a little bit belated Moon Knight episode 2. But come on, guys, you got to work with me. I had internet trouble. We have scheduling differences, Japan and America, we try and get along sometimes, but obviously not to get this stream done very, very early. But we're here and we're going to talk about everything Moon Knight episode 2, the continuation of MCU's retelling, and I'm saying retelling of the Moon Knight comic. So Joe, let me start off. What did you think about episode 2's episodes?
I enjoyed it. I'm pretty much in the same vein as the first episode. There's obviously some variable differences between how they portray Moon Knight on the screen versus the comics that I have read and stuff. But through sheer talented acting on Oscar Isaac's part, for one. And the intriguing story that's going on with, Arthur Harrow. I mean, Ethan Hawke's doing a phenomenal job in that role as well. And I feel like the episodes have been paced really well. And, they're giving us just a little bit more each time to kind of keep the interest going. So, I mean, in that, as a show itself, like if I'm just looking at it as a separate entity from the comics, it's an MCU show, and in that they do know how to entertain their audience.
Yeah, I will say it is a different beast. Mm-hmm. But then, to be fair, as I said in our last review when we talked about episode 1, the MCU does this. Every movie, every Hollywood genre that takes on a comic book always makes it their own. So this is no different. I will say, and I really love Oscar Isaacs, but I will tell you, him playing Steven sometimes, I just want to reach in and choke the hell out of him. I'm like, stop being stupid. Like literally in this episode, it had my anxiety go up a lot because I was like, dude, I understand you don't want to share control of your body, which quite frankly, we don't even know if you're the primary personality of this body, but you're going to die. You're going to all ass die, and you're just playing around. You're like, oh no, but he's just being really stubborn. But this episode, basically, we got introduced to a few. Technically, I won't say a few new people. We got one new regular person, and then we got some little side characters that work for Harrow that were introduced into this episode. Yeah. And one of them is Layla. And we talked about Layla last week because Layla is actually the new replacement for, Moonlight's comic book BFF and Boo and future baby's mama. So, but I'm not hating on it because again, they reinvent the wheel all the time in the MCU. So I'm not hating on it. But I'm just now curious because there are other characters in the Marvel universe that have the name Layla. And I'm always like, is this really who this is supposed to be? So, I have some theories. But Layla's character, I'm assuming she's French because she speaks French. I don't know if that's 100% accurate because I haven't looked at her bio through the MCU. But she, for all intents and purposes, is also an archaeologist who is married to Mark Spector. Yep. And so when she goes to get him on her motorbike, she's there as his wife.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah. And so it's really funny, the interaction between them, because the whole time Steven's like, wait, I'm married to you? I'm like, you're my wife? And you can tell he was like,
yeah, the whole DID thing, she is definitely unaware to it. Yeah, so for her, she's just like, is my husband trying to ghost me?
Like, she thought he was putting on an act because he was a mercenary and stuff. And so she's probably like, maybe she's thinking you're like a method actor, and maybe you're just too deep in. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen that happen in Hollywood. But like, I don't know, the way she was talking, she was humoring him a little bit, and then she was like, why are you talking with that stupid English accent? And he's like, this is my accent. And she's like, no, Mark, basically, Mark, what the hell are you doing? So she is completely oblivious, which is interesting because now it goes back to the old comic book question. People have been asking this for a long time. did Mark Spector actually have, the identity personality disorder or dissociative, or did it happen when he became Moon Knight? Because if you're going by the MCU right now, Mark was married to this woman. Now, I don't know how long they were married, but would he not have exhibited these personality breaks somewhere in their relationship when they met, dating up to getting married? I mean, that's something that you really can't hide. So I guess my question on that is that their answer to that? It actually happened when he became Moon Knight.
Yeah, because Conchu even says that when he gave Mark the power, he was on the brink of death. Like, so
right.
something happened. Like, Conchu saved him. So maybe it was like he was literally halfway between being alive and being dead, and in that, the power exchange maybe caused a slight little split in one of maybe his personalities. Because I mean, from doing just a little bit extra research, talking to you, talking to other friends of mine who are big Moon Knight fans, I mean, Stephen Grant used to just be an alias that he would use. There wasn't actually any DID.
Right.
So, it's possible that he actually used to have like that particular alias as one of his covers. And then, somehow once Khonshu saved him, that made that, that alias an actual personality. Because one thing I thought was very interesting too was when Layla and Stephen went back to Stephen's apartment, and she's like seeing all of these books on like Egyptology and mythology and stuff like that. And then you start to understand that his entire personality is effectively based on her.
Yeah.
Like, so that's definitely one thing I found really interesting.
Yeah. Even down to the poem, I think it was a book of poetry that you had on the shelf.
Yeah, like her favorite poet. They share the same favorite poet. They speak the same languages, and
Yeah, and she says, she's like, so now you speak French and you read hieroglyphics. It's like, huh. So that's really interesting. But no, I like that whole situation with that. I thought was, because this is something that was always asked in the comics: does he have schizophrenia? Did he already have a mental illness prior to what was going on? So that's something that I thought was really interesting. Just listening to it, the banter between Layla and him, it really came into focus. And I know what Khonshu said, but it really came into focus that, hey, he never demonstrated this at all around her. So she had no idea. So she was literally legit, like going into this, realizing that the man she was married to and obviously had wanted to divorce her, which we'll talk about in a second, is not the same man that was in the room with her. and you can see the wheels turning, like, what the hell is happening right now?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, Stephen even says, "quote I would never divorce you."
Yeah, he's like, I would never go. I was gonna divorce you. What the hell? I love how
we like the same things. You're like really attractive. Yeah, okay. I'll chain you to the bed now.
Yeah, well, I love how Mark's like literally in the mirror most of the time, and he's like saying, "No, don't do that. You're putting her in danger." He's like, "Stop! You know what you're doing." And I'm like, but what gets me about Steven is he doesn't ask questions. He just reacts. Paranoid and like he has a paranoid way of reacting, and he's like very nervous and anxious, which I kind of get, because if I woke up, I basically had to chain myself to my bed first off. Because I literally would end up all over the place and have bruises and have all of these things that I don't remember and lose time. It would probably drive me insane too. But it's interesting because I hope they answer the question, why Steven? Why does he always default to Steven in the end? Why isn't Mark the more dominant personality? Because Steven may be, stubborn, which I guess technically could be an asset in trying to keep your body. But I feel like Mark has so much, willpower and stubbornness. If he's able to sacrifice his marriage so that Khonshu can't make his wife, the next Moon Knight in case he messes up, he's willing to just give up his marriage. Then that's somebody who would fight to keep the control of the body and would need to.
Yeah.
Stephen is not the person, but we'll get back into that in a second. So, all right.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I was going to add to that. Like, one thing I also found particularly interesting was even when Mark is talking to Steven and stuff. Mark, the entire episode is basically saying, "You just do this one thing for me. We get it done, and I will relinquish full control to you." and you could just live your life. And I'm just sitting there like, but if you're the OG guy,
True.
you're just gonna walk away from your life. I mean, I get you're, a wanted man, but at the same time.
And that's, I guess, the 2 points you just made. Number one, him being a wanted man does not mean Stephen Grant can just live his life, because there's a thing called Interpol.
I was about to say, it's like if Interpol catches wind of him, it's like he's done anyway. Yep. I mean, it really feels like a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory situation where Willy Wonka's trying to get rid of his factory just a few years before OSHA becomes a thing.
Well, I think there's a lot more to that, but I will tell you, the second thing, if he really is serious about him relinquishing control to him, it may be because if he has to give up his wife and he was a mercenary, so already has things he regrets, and he's doing all this stuff for Khonshu, he probably doesn't want to be in his body to have to deal with all that when it's done. So maybe it's more like running from your problems by running from your life, I guess. So letting somebody else take the wheel is and somebody you think is a better person than you morally, has a more stronger moral compass, I guess. That's probably why he said that. Now, it may not be true, because we also learned that Khonshu, according to Harrow, has been making the same promises to all of the people that he chose to be Moon Knight. Do this for me, and then I'll set you free. Do this for me. This is the last time we have to work together. Blah blah blah. So he could just be pulling a Khonshu on him and just telling him what he wants to hear. So,
oh yeah, I mean, even from the few comics that I read, Khonshu's a bit of a dick.
Not a bit. He's a straight up dick.
Okay, he's a straight up dick. Yeah.
He's a straight up dick. But now, so in this episode, some things I found amusing. So when it first starts off, you see Steven running up to the security guard that never gets his name right. And he's talking about, all this stuff happened to me, and you have to have it on camera, which is funny because I know they eventually would have seen what happened anyway, but he essentially told on himself because he's like, look at this. And he's like, all we're seeing is him looking paranoid, running around like he's on drugs, and then running out of the bathroom and smashing stuff in the museum and tearing the bathroom up, or at least the aftermath of the bathroom, and he's coming out of it. So he literally got himself in trouble. They agreed not to press charges, but unfortunately, Steven got fired from his job. So he no longer has employment. So I don't know how he's going to pay for his little weird ass apartment or his fish. That sometimes.
Well, he did find a really big bag of cash.
He did. That is very true. I don't know if he's going to utilize that very big bag of cash though. So that's
maybe he's going to take that bag of money. He's going to invest it. He'll become the billionaire Stephen Grant.
Now that would be cool if that's where they're going, if that's how they make him have his money, and then eventually we get Spectre Corp, because it's still, I don't know how they're going to pull this off without Spectre Corp. I'm gonna be real. All right, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. He got let go, and then the reason that he's able to run into Layla, because she has to rescue him, is he's basically picked up by two detectives who come in and start questioning him about stuff. Now they don't have they don't have a warrant. He never even asked them for a warrant. It's like Steven just did not understand his rights. He's like, the museum said they were going to press charges, and they start asking him all of this stuff. And normally when you see the situation, what's the first thing everyone says? Can I, do you have a warrant? And the second thing is, I need to speak to my lawyer. So none of that came out of Steven's mouth. He just kind of went along with the plan, and the guys kind of brought him with him. And they brought him to Harrow. And Harrow's talking to him and letting him know why he basically his master plan, which is very interesting, I guess, for time, because I think there's only six episodes?
6 episodes.
I guess you really don't have time to drag it out. It wouldn't be like 22 episodes. You wouldn't even understand Harrow was the bad guy if it was 22 episodes. So it would take probably 12 to even get to that point. But I just think it's interesting because he's like, he wants to bring back the goddess Ammit, and Ammit basically is the kind of goddess that will. So if you are even about to consider maybe someday in the future, 40 years from now, committing a crime, you're going to be killed. You're going to take you out. It's some Minority Report stuff. It's like really, really messed up. And
that includes children and babies.
Anyone that's capable of, I don't care if the mother is pregnant with the baby's probably going to be taken out before it's even born. That is so messed up. But that is literally that they want to revive this goddess because according to Harrow, Khonshu is a selfish prick and his vengeance doesn't work because it comes after the fact. So the bad stuff is done and then we just get vengeance for it. And I'm like, but that's kind of how that works. You don't just kill people because they have the potential to do something. I mean, that's another thing. Just because you have the potential to kill somebody doesn't mean you're going to do it, but you're going to get punished like you did it already. So that the whole
well, see that right there, it kind of echoes all the way back to, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the argument between Nick Fury and Captain America, where Captain America's like, looking at all the warships, and he's like, I thought the punishment came after the crime. And Nick Fury's like, well, we can't really afford to let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that was the moral compass of that movie. But my feelings on Captain America. I am not a big fan of Captain America MCU. I think he's a little bit hypocritical, but that's a whole other thing. But I feel like in this right here, like it's so extreme that even Steven got it. Like Steven's not even thinking on any of this level. He's not thinking about goddesses, gods, tombs, moon. But he was like, wait, isn't that bad? Doesn't that mean you're just killing like children and babies? I mean, you're killing people before they they do a crime. So he's like, it's dawning on Steven. It's almost like watching a light bulb go off when you're dealing with Steven. Like Mark is just like bam, but Steven's like, let me process this information for like 3 hours. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you can justify Steven's thought process too, because like he doesn't know who the good guys and bad guys are in this situation. Maybe he sits down with Arthur and Arthur says, yeah, no, we're not getting, maybe Arthur could have lied to him, for all he knew or whatever, but it's also just sort of like, he wanted to hear him out. It's like, what is, like, who are you versus this Khonshu guy and Mark guy? Like, tell me your side of the story. And that, I think it was definitely a good assessment. I think it was really dumb him turning around and was like, y'all are fucking crazy. Because I'm like, they about to jump your ass.
Well, no, I think it's really funny too, because Harrow was quoting what Khonshu was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the timing of it. It was like he knew, and I got.
Oh no, that was comedy gold right there.
Yeah,
I know Arthur says he can't hear him, but I'm like, that timing was like, and he said that shit word for word. Like I get he was the old Avatar and he probably memorized all that stuff, but I'm like, he said it like immediately after. What's Khonshu saying? He's saying this shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's saying you can't trust me now. Like, damn. Like, are you sure you're not hearing him?
You can't trust me. He's like the fist of justice.
Yeah. Well, I love how Khonshu's immediate response when he first saw Harrow was telling Steven, kill him. Rip out his throat or rip out his lungs.
He just like punch him kill him, punch him in the throat, kick him in the dick or something.
That would have been interesting to watch. But no, like, so that whole thing led up to something I'm sure a lot of people that were comic book fans were in their feelings about, and that is that when Steven and Layla were running, because Layla basically had the scarab and she was bringing it to him and she was using it as leverage to get him away, and so they end up running and then going up on a roof and all this stuff starts happening. They're being chased, and so for some reason Steven's able to summon a suit. It wasn't the suit, but like a suit. And he made this joke, and I can't remember what he said. He said something like, I said to summon the suit, not something.
It was like, you told me to put on the suit. So it's like, I put on a suit.
Yeah, he made some freaking,
and, it was the Mr. Knight suit. And I'm like, it's an interesting introduction.
It was dapper. He looked like he had on a dapper suit, something you would see from the Ministry of Magic on Harry Potter. It wasn't like
it was his Mr. Midnight outfit. Yeah, exactly. It's like it was an interesting introduction, and I kind of like I'm kind of like the concept of, okay, different personalities will summon a different suit type, and that shows you that Mark probably chooses to use that older look because he thinks it looks cool.
Yeah, well, so the dapper type suit, I mean, that's something, like when you look at the comics though, you're gonna see, I know a lot of people probably saw that and they were like, wait a minute, that's not how that went.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've said, because the last run that I read, and I can't remember if it was the Jeff Lemire run or the one after that, but yeah, like, he used multiple outfits in in that series, or in that comic series, and it just depended like sometimes it depended on the personality type. Because there was the one where it was the Moon Knight outfit, but then he would change personalities and he would just like kind of lift up his mask halfway and wrap it around his head and just leave his lower jaw exposed.
Yeah. Well, I remember Warren Ellis was the one that came up with Grant's version of the suit. So that was like the sophisticated, gentlemanly, Mr. Knight version of the suit. So I just knew. I mean, if you were like hardcore in the comic, you're probably pissed off right now. So like, it's best to have Steven summon that. It was really. I know what they were trying to do. They're trying to incorporate it. But see, I felt the same way when we watched Spider-Man. What was it? Far From Home, when they were in Italy, because one of my favorite Spider-Verse Spider-Man is Spider-Man Noir. I love watching emo ass Peter Parker try and.
You mean the Night Monkey?
But they had his suit and they called it the Night Monkey. I just wanted to wring their effing necks. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Just like making Molten Man and Hydra Man just anomalies that were created. They were
not even that; they were just holograms.
Yeah. So I mean, when the MCU kind of does that, it's just like, okay, now I just need to get what I call the entertainment whip, and I'm just gonna start feeding that little ass because you're messing it up. But it is what it is. But he was able to summon the suit. He got a one punch in because he ended up fighting yet another summoned, creature.
Yeah, I just call them hellhounds.
I mean, that's what they are. But I mean, I was trying to just distinguish it from the first one. But so he was able to get one punch, and then
no, this is a TV series. There's gonna be recycled CGI figures.
I know. But now I was thinking, like, he got that one hit in, and he did that. He was so adamant on Mark not taking over his body. That's how he even got the suit to come in the first damn place. He is stubborn as hell, which is so weird because, again, Steven was not the dominant personality of this body in the comics. It's always Mark. So I mean, it's basically like it's in reverse. But again, I'm used to this. I mean, the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie is going to have, Strange in it. Strange wasn't in, any part of dealing with Thanos, which makes no sense. So I'm used to how they rewrite Marvel history. So it's just what it is. I've come to accept the fact. If I'm waiting for them to be true to a comic storyline, I'm going to be very disappointed all of the time. So
no, that's why we have animated movies.
Pretty much. Even though I'm gonna say it, come at me. Marvel animated movies are not good. DC actually owns the mold on anime. Not saying all DC. Some DC movies suck. They're animated, but a lot of them are very good.
Yeah, Marvel. Yeah, when Marvel had the Lionsgate line, it's like they tried, but it just wasn't. Well, part of the problem was they were kicking it off with like the ultimate versions.
Well, they wanted to do like an animated Fantastic Four movie to go along with. Sorry, I thought I had my phone out, guys. They wanted to have it to go along with the Fantastic Four movie that was coming out. So they were going to have like the animated spinoff of that movie, which would have sucked. I mean, it just would have sucked. So, especially since it wasn't even going to be a continuation of the series. It was going to be basically a retelling of the movie that was the origin story. It's stupid. So I don't know. They need better planning.
Yeah, Marvel definitely. You think nowadays too with the House of Mouse money, they could make something a little better than they do in the last few Spider-Man cartoon series I watched. No.
Yeah, I still love. Was it Sony's version before they revamped it on Disney? I love the Sony version. Spectacular, I think Spider-Man was.
Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah. That show was
pretty good. I like
that. That was it.
Yeah, that and the '90s Spider-Man. I love him saying "Mary Jane" all damn time.
I wish they would actually go back and redo that show and just add a few more frames per scene. Because animation-wise, that show does not hold up.
Terrell, thank you. He just told me what Mark said. So Mark was basically saying about the Mr. Knight suit. Yeah, the ceremonial armor from Khonshu's temple, not Psycho Colonel Sanders. That's what he said. I don't know why I couldn't remember that, but it was funny as hell at the time. Thank you, Terrell. You're awesome. We'll get back to our random speech things. We probably should just jump through the rest of this review because it was not a bad episode, but we did learn some stuff. So we learned that the reason, of course, Mark wants to get divorced from Layla is because Khonshu is looking at. I turned my phone off, guys. Samsung hates me. I'm so sorry. Basically, he's looking at Layla as the new avatar, so she would be the new replacement for Moon Knight. And probably the reason he really is trying to get to divorce her is she probably would do it. So that is a thing, and I don't know how. I'm assuming she knows about it because she knows about the suit, but I don't know how much information she has on Khonshu or basically how he even got the suit to begin with. So that's a thing. So like I said, she knows about the suit. I just don't know if she knows the origin story because we aren't privy to that. And I'm hoping somewhere in these 6 episodes, we actually get some backstory on how they even met, because she is a creation for this series. She is not a original or canon Moon Knight character, so they can really do whatever the hell they want with her, and that's a thing, which actually makes me wonder if she's going to be killed and then he meets his actual partner that's his real one in the canon universe, which could happen. I don't know, that's just something I was thinking about. All right, so after a lot of banter and basically Mark using his common sense and critical thinking skills, he manages to convince Steven that if you don't give me control of the body, boy, we gonna die. We are going to die. And Steven's like, but I can do. No, you're gonna die. He finally relents to him. And it was smooth. I will tell you that. That was pretty smooth.
It was a good transition.
That was a good transition. I like his use of his weapons. To me, it was cool. He showed all of the skills he has as a mercenary, and as somebody who is taking on the physical, aspects of being Moon Knight. Because I know Moon Knight's supposed to have powers in this. It's still weird for me because again, he is just a polisher, more, shinier version of Batman. He's Batman in white, basically the Stephen Grant.
And Disney needs to distinguish him from Batman.
Having multiple personalities will do that, though. The Stephen Grant was kind of a milked down version of Bruce Wayne, in the comics, but having these multiple personalities would do that. It's just a thing. But I don't know. I like the transition. I am okay with the suit. I thought I was not going to be okay. It is really hard to do a suit that has like whitish gray, aspect on camera without it looking cheesy as hell. But I'm here for it. It actually looks pretty good to me. So I'm not.
They did a good job with the suit, and particularly during the sequence too. That one shot where he jumps across the rooftop and his cape is like flapping and stuff like that. Like that was actually a really cool freaking looking scene. Something I've always actually wanted to see in a Batman movie is him jumping across the rooftop and just see that cape, stuff. And Marvel did it, and it looked cool.
I have no problem with any the choreography when Mark fights. To me is fine. I have no problem with any of that. I don't know. I know you liked it, Joe. You may be in the minority. Again, I don't watch other people's reviews on this show, so I have no idea what people are actually saying about it. But I personally thought, hey, this was well done.
I watched a couple videos on it. It just depends in terms of reviews, it just depends on who you watch. You watch one side of YouTube, they really liked it. You watch another side of YouTube, they all hated it. So.
Really?
Yeah, well, we've had a discussion in private about certain elements and some things that particularly about this episode, when there was a clip that dropped on Twitter and a certain section of YouTube just lost their freaking collective minds for 2 seconds because Layla beat someone up.
Yeah, but why? Because Layla is an original effing character. You have nothing to base this off. If Layla was a character that was mousy and was like an office worker who sat on her ass all day, that's one thing. But this is an original character. She's not, canon at all to the Moon Knight universe. So I don't understand why they would be in their feelings about that at all. So
the entire basis for that argument was, but it's Moon Knight's show.
So that means nobody can do anything, I guess, because it's Moon Knight. No, that's just really dumb. Now, I know one of the characters I had to look up because I know there were a few named Layla, but one of the ones that I thought could be Layla was Layla Miller, and that they could have changed her name.
Mhm.
But if you remember, she went by Butterfly in Marvel, and she has the ability to resurrect. And I thought that, resurrection, Egyptian, Khonshu, all those themes played together for me. So I'm like, are they trying to introduce low key introduce a mutant, into, the MCU, just change her up a little bit instead of her being Layla Miller. She's Layla, Lafayette or whatever her name is, changing her last name. I think that would be cool if she actually ended up being a mutant.
Yeah,
And
no, that would be pretty cool if, she's a character that had resurrection powers and it's like, Khonshu's given Mark his power in a moment maybe where she's trying to resurrect him kind of thing, heal him up and stuff. So it's like that could also be very interesting, because then he's on the brink of death. You have these conflicting energies clashing, maybe that, and again, that could have brought, Steven out into, an actual persona, and within his personalities and stuff like that. Again, it's like one thing I just want to get pretty much all the information on Steven in terms of like how long he's technically been around, who the heck he's calling when he's calling his mom.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because they never, that lady seems to never pick up, so, but it's just, I mean, because it just seems like Steven's been around for a hot minute in terms as far as he's aware and as far as like everyone else is concerned too. Because it's like, dude had his own flat, he had a job, people knew who he was, so and that is just sort of like it had to be at least maybe a year or two, something like it was a decent amount of time.
Well, and also to kind of jump and carry on to that, if you really think about it, when Layla was saying that she couldn't find him, she didn't make it seem like it was this big gap. So like,
she said you've been missing for months. But I mean,
what I'm talking about after he got the suit, right? So I'm thinking,
okay.
I wonder how many other lives are out there. Because I mean, we know what's in the comics, but I really want to know how many different personas are actually out there right now of him living these little pocket lives that Steven doesn't know about. Like, I wonder if some of these episodes are going to be him basically thinking, okay, well, Mark is taking on my body. I'm claustrophobic. I'm stuck in here. And then him just meeting the other versions of himself while he's stuck in his body, or I guess in his own mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could even see something like, the finale happens, it wraps up, Mark goes, okay, Steven, the body's yours, I'm gonna go away. Mark walks off, and then Steven has a moment of, oh my god, it's finally over, and then Jake Lockley pops up, surprise, bitch.
Not today, mofo. But no, I think it's interesting too, because like there is a lot that they can do in this universe. If now you see, and this is the problem, you don't want to get excited, because I really felt like when we were all reviewing WandaVision and we were all putting our love for the comics, of House of M and everything and Mephisto and all these theories we had in play into this comic. Now, to be fair though, MCU were being dicks by putting Easter eggs in that were very, very House of M driven.
That was very intentional. That was very
absolutely intentional, but it made the payoff, what actually happened at the end, a little frustrating, because the person that ended up being the big baddie is not the big baddie. This person kind of was not really a good person, but not really a bad person. Actually was kind of like walking that line. So like, I always thought that whenever the MCU threw, after that point, whenever they throw an Easter egg in, I'm not to get my hopes up, because it's just going to be a letdown, and they're just messing with us fans they want to see who read the comics so they can get our weird ass theories. Because I think they like a drinking game for them at night.
I remember the minute all of the fan theories started popping up about potentially Mephisto coming on the scene, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's gonna be Mephisto, we're gonna have House of M, and then it's, oh my god, Spider-Man's this stuff happens in the Spider-Man No Way Home thing, and like, oh, maybe it's Professor that's going to erase everybody's memories, and then we're gonna have a one more day thing going on, and it's like, wow, it's like, and that's what's interesting about the MCU fan base and stuff, and it's just like one little thing happens and they'll connect it for the next 10 movies about potential.
I do. Well, no,
stories.
I mean, honestly, I don't have a problem with connecting it because I know when I was doing theories on.
Oh yeah, no, definitely no problem with connecting, but it's just very interesting how like one scene and then 10 seconds later, like everybody just, we got it. This is the plan.
Well, no, like if you remember,
then they watch the movie and then there's like that area of disappointment.
No, like what's really, I always tell people now, because this is what WandaVision has taught me. Something as insignificant as Sparky the effing dog. Now, if you actually know who Sparky actually is, he was the dog of Vision and his make-believe family back in his comic run, where they decided they were going to try and live as a regular family in this neighborhood to see if they could get away with it or do it. And Sparky actually ends up dying because he discovers Grim Reaper's corpse and then in the backyard of this house, and it ends up killing him. So the dog gets killed because of Grim Reaper. And the only reason I'm bringing Grim Reaper up is because in the opening of Vision, Grim Reaper's helmet was underneath the damn table. So like they were intentionally fucking with us and then revamping and throwing, like they put Sparky in there. They had Grim Reaper's helmet in there. Like every time you turn around, they had like what I thought was Franklin Reed's freaking picture on a milk carton as a missing child. I mean, you had I think even on the table, you also saw like an image or a shadow.
Yeah, I mean the entire WandaVision show was all about misdirection, and which is why I think by the end, whereas I could say it was a good show, the ending was definitely underwhelming in the grand scheme of it all, because there were like all these things you thought were going to be these really cool reveals. No, it was Agatha all along, a very entertaining song, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just kind of like that was very underwhelming.
It was extremely, and like that. I mean, I would actually have loved for something to happen, but because of that, I have trained myself now to not get excited about MCU shows, and then I wasn't disappointed. Like when Hawkeye came out, I'm a Kate Bishop effing expert, and nothing about her backstory was true except for a little bit of her mother. Nothing about her backstory was true. Nothing about Clint's backstory that we got was true. So like everything was complete effing reinvention for the MCU. The entire show was a reinvention. So my only problem with when they do this is when they do a character bio, if you want to reinvent them, don't introduce characters that are very instrumental to their development and put them in as a character that they don't even know. It's like, this was my mother in the comics, but here she rides the bus with me on Tuesdays. That's literally what the MCU does. And it's like, so I have given up. So I'm telling you this as a Moon Knight, somebody who's read a lot of Moon Knight comics. I don't have hope or faith or anything in the MCU copying anything from the comics at all.
Oh yeah, no, I learned a long time ago. Separate what you know about the comics from the movies. You're gonna have some carryover elements, yes, but for the most part, it is going to be its own beast. They're doing an adaptation of the source material. They're not doing a 1-to-1 of the source material. I mean, that's just comic book movies in general. So
that's true. That is very true. Well, and then also to the fact of like even down to Harrow, because Harrow is a lot different in the comics. He was a doctor, a mad scientist, very into pain management. But I will say though, him walking with glass in his shoes, that does actually play a little homage to his character in the comics. But like all of that to me is just again a reinvention, of the MCU. So now Harrow's master plan, which was very convincing, by the way, he actually was doing a great job at first at convincing Steven that he wasn't, crazy as hell and evil. He was just like, wow, all this stuff is going, and we want to have a peaceful society, not the society where people harm each other and blah, blah. This little monologue he was doing, and it was like, he was almost like
the villain monologue. Yeah, it's like, exactly. He's like, we could have this nice society where everyone's everyone gets along and it's gonna be so nice. Oh, by the way, we gotta kill a shit ton of people, but it's okay. It's okay. It's for the greater good.
Some of them are children who don't even know what they're doing yet in life, but it's all good. We, innocent until proven guilty. No, they're just guilty, and they just need to die. But yeah, it is a thing. And I mean, I'm not hating on it. I just think it's interesting. I'm really curious to see what they do with Harrow because he is seeming to go.
I will be right back. My child is crying.
Have fun. So basically, outside of that, we had Mark fight I think I want to say it was a jackal. It may not have been a hound. So correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the comments. I'm pretty sure it was a jackal. He defeats it. Then he decides not to give Steven the body back. And so Steven is like legit upset because he's trapped in his head, but Mark doesn't care. And then we have the whole Khonshu and Mark talk where Khonshu is like, well, if you basically don't do what I say, then I have somebody else in mind that can take your place. And he's referring to Layla. So now that is Mark's motivation to not kill himself, I guess, is to, because that's what I'm thinking is to not kill himself. Basically ending his time as the chosen avatar or Moon Knight is he doesn't want it to roll to Layla. And Khonshu knows that is his button that he is pushing. And I don't know why. I don't know why Mark thinks that by divorcing his wife, that's going to stop that. But I guess, it is what it is. But after that, we're getting to nitty gritty because he, Mark's basically like, okay, what do we do next? He's like, where we're going, basically. And they end up him sitting on the floor drinking or drunk, and then he opens the window and they're in Egypt. So they're going after Harrow. So I think the meat of this episode, which always happens around episodes 3 and 4 of any MCU show that only has 6 to 7 episodes, it's always around 3 or 4 where shit starts to hit the fan. So I am very convinced that episode 3 is going to be very good this week. The 4 is probably going to be where something devastating happens, and then 5 or 6 are pretty much the pickups. So this episode on Wednesday is the one to watch. And I'm curious to see what they do because, again, Harrow is not the same character that he is in the comics, but he's just as crazy in the comics. So, I mean, I can kind of see it. I have been looking at you guys' comments, guys. I'm sorry. Let me scroll up because I want to make sure. Let's see here. Moon Knight is awesome so far. I haven't read the comics, though. That's fine. I mean, there are a lot, and he's also done a lot of crossovers with the Avengers and things like that. So, I mean, it is what it is. He didn't know who the hell she was. He did not. He looked at Layla. He was like, why is this woman rescuing me? What the hell's happening right now? I like when he was on the back of her bike and he didn't know where to put his hands. And she's like, really? That was hilarious. So I just finished watching episode 2 of Moon Knight. I'm still iffy on it. Steven and Mark is kind of annoying. I like the Ethan Hawke character, though. Steven is very annoying. But again, in the comics, Steven was not like that. He was pretty much like Bruce Wayne, a millionaire, funded all of the Moon Knight operation through Spectre Corp. To this day, I don't know how he got all this money because that was a personality, but that's a whole other conversation. But he's completely different and he was not British. So this is the British accent, the goofiness, all of that, the awkward character, the one that's kind of, because he's very awkward. He's a little neurotic. All of this, I think, was Oscar's influence on the character. Because I know he wanted to do the accent. That's what I read. I think it was an interview he did. He wanted to have, that's how he was going to differentiate himself between Mark and Steven, which, honestly, he didn't have to do, but it's a thing. Still a very, very good actor, though. So, probably not going to finish watching Moon Knight. I'll get my info from you, Maria. See, Maria, you do that a lot. But I'm happy. I'm here for you. So if you need me to do these reviews, so you don't have to watch the show, that's fine.
Oh, and if you want more on episode 1, we did that over on my channel.
Yeah, that's on Joe's channel. So we did a whole overview of episode 1 on Joe's channel. So make sure to check that out. I honestly think that a smart part of his memory got erased. That's why he didn't know who she was. That's what I think. So you think anything that made him intelligent got erased? They explained a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and then what is it? Also, for those that haven't read a lot of Moon Knight or haven't read Moon Knight at all and you want to get into Moon Knight, what is it? Marvel's actually rolling out, I know this month 1 and the next month 2. They're doing 3 omnibuses like back to back.
I think they're doing a preview of one for free too on Comixology, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. So you might be able
Okay.
to read it, at least the first issue for free. So that would be cool. Let's see here. Khonshu would rather keep threatening Mark about Layla than let him go as his avatar because he's special to him. I know. But is he though? I mean, is he really? I don't know how I feel about that whole situation.
I mean, maybe Khonshu's just attracted to Mark. I don't know.
Is that what it is? He's like, you're my boo. Like,
Exactly.
you think I'm here to have you fight and to stop Harrow. It's actually because I just really like you wearing my suit. Like, that's horrible.
I like being all around you.
Maybe Khonshu believes he's Sailor Moon and he's Tuxedo Mask.
Oh my god, there's already been memes. There's already been memes of that too. Just type it up, Moon Knight, Sailor Moon. People are already going nuts at it, and it's great.
Oh no. Well, what's funny is there was a Moon Knight originally in Sailor Moon before he became Tuxedo Common, so that's funny too.
Oh yeah, he was the Moonlight Knight.
Yep, Moonlight Knight. Hello, Maria, Joe, and crew. Hello, Latino. How are you?
Hi.
We get Doctor Strange 2 on Thursday the 5th instead of the 6th in the UK. Woohoo, got my tickets booked. Wait, you get it this month? I'm half British. Why don't I have these privileges? Probably because I can't fly to the UK.
Well, I don't know. Why is it here in Japan we get the movies usually 2-3 months after everyone else for only about 2 weeks before it comes out on digital?
Wow. So you haven't even seen the Batman yet, have you?
No, I missed it. It was only in theaters for 2 weeks.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm so sorry.
It's already gone. What is it? Morbius is actually tomorrow's the last day for Morbius.
I saw Morbius on Saturday, so I need to talk about that. That was an interesting movie. But I'm going to say I was bad because it was a double feature and Uncharted was playing. And it's not that I thought it was boring. I just kept falling asleep. So we went home. I didn't see all of Uncharted. But yeah, tell me when you get Doctor Strange too. Cause I'm a British citizen. I have a British passport. I might have to make that happen. And even though I don't want to fly during COVID, let me see Doctor Strange.
Just fly over to the UK just to watch Doctor Strange 2 before everybody else. There you go.
Well, my family's in Aberdeenshire, so I don't know. I don't know if it would get to Scotland before we get to England. I don't know. I don't know how the theaters work over there. I had to ask my cousins. Do you think that the reason they made Moon Knight so different from the comics was to further distinguish him from Daredevil? Huh.
I mean, I've not really heard of much comparisons between Moon Knight and Daredevil. It's usually Moon Knight and Batman that get the most
Because comparisons. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard anybody. They've always compared him to Bruce Wayne or Batman, especially when he's Steven. I've always heard that comparison, but I don't think I've ever heard him compared to Daredevil. So that's an interesting question. I don't think that's why they actually did that, because number one, Daredevil in the MCU, because I have to say MCU now because it looks like they are using the Netflix rendition of him. He's also a little bit different than he is in the comics. His backstory is kind of similar. His dad and his upbringing, him being devout Catholic, all that stuff's the same. But how he reacts in the comics is a lot less crazy, except for in City of Bane. A lot less crazy than not City of Bane. Lord, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. And his story went right out of my head. The comment run, and I was actually reviewing it. It's gonna come back.
Was it Frank Miller's?
It was a Frank. I cannot remember the name of it, but I'll get to that in a minute. But now, how he acts in the comics it's interesting. So, like, he'll have moments of, I'm mature. I'm a man who believes in God. I'm a man who doesn't really think I have to be violent all the time. And then he's just off the deep end. And then the MCU's version, he just went spiraling down the deep end from like season 1. So, like, I don't know if Moon Knight's going to be in that. Because, I mean, a lot of people actually say Daredevil has mental issues. That's something that they've said a lot over the years. Moon Knight, we know, has DID, or some people say he's schizophrenic. Some people say he's just personality. Daredevil has emotional issues and trauma because, like Batman, he never went to therapy when his dad was killed. So he has
And he
all.
did throw a baby off a roof once.
He had, not only that, remember the old woman that accidentally got set on fire in that building, the library. There's a lot of things Daredevil did that's kind of shady. I mean, there's more than one time Spider-Man's had to intervene and be like, hold it, just sit down. You're a little cray right now. So I don't know if that's the comparison they're making in terms of mental illness. Maybe, but as for like skill level and like just overall, alter ego and superheroes, I don't think so. I don't see a connection between those two at all. Mark was basically saying that Mr. Nightsuit. Yeah, okay, that's what I already read. And thank you again for saying Psycho Colonel Sanders, because that's what I could not remember the name. And then how could I not? Because what other figure did I know that wears a white suit like that? House of Mouse sounds like a rando evil organization that the Doom Patrol would fight.
I mean, they are planning on world domination at one point. We all know it's true.
I mean, it would be cool to have House of Mouse and with Doom Patrol and Kingdom Hearts 4. What's another obscure Marvel character that you would like to see a TV show centered around? Obscure? I mean, I want a Squirrel Girl for sure. Like, absolutely want Squirrel Girl, like on every scope of imagination. But if I'm going to be completely honest, it really depends on what we're talking about, like Spider-Man, X-Men, whatever. But this isn't even, I guess she's not really that obscure, but I really want them to have a TV show based on Quanin, aka Revanche, and now back to Psylocke. Because her whole journey was messed up, very, very messed up. And on top of that, I got really into another character called Wave, Pearl, who is one of the agents of Atlas, and I really think it'd be cool. I would like to actually have the Agents of Atlas done. So many characters that are Black that need to have spotlights in the Marvel universe just by themselves that aren't just riding the bootstraps of another character. I would love to have. I have a ton. There are tons and tons of characters that I don't think will see the light of day, honestly. Angela would be very cool. She's actually Asgardian, and I love her very, very much. I'd love to see a show done about Angela. Yeah, I can go down. There's a lot. There are a lot of characters that I would really think would do very well. Yeah, there's a ton. There's a ton. But I'll ask Joe that question too. Joe, what's an obscure Marvel character that you would love to see a TV show centered around?
An obscure Marvel character that I would like to see a movie or show centered around. It's a good question.
I know, right? There's so many of them. There's so many characters. But I said I wanted one about Revanche, Quanin, Revanche, now Psylocke, because we always focus on Betsy Braddock, but we never really focused on Quanin. So I would like to have her story prior to her body or her soul being swapped with Betsy, and how all that, like what her upbringing and all that was, out to what she is now. That would be very, very cool. And I also went down the list with some other characters that I like, but I'm just really curious. Who would you like to, somebody that they haven't like really focused on that you've liked that you don't think is a very well-known character?
That's interesting. I mean, I did once see a Warp Zone skit where they were talking about a Jubilee movie.
Jubilee.
Can the MCU make Jubilee happen?
Oh no. No. I think that actually would be very interesting, especially if they retconned it where it had nothing to do with Bryan Singer's X-Men, because Jubilee was assassinated in his movies, and that she never existed except for that one movie, and then it never made sense to me. So yeah,
she was in was it the mall scene in X-Men Apocalypse?
Yeah.
I think she was just in the background, and was she in the background in Days of Futures Past?
I don't think so. I don't know. I can't
remember if she was...
the future past. After I saw what they did to Shadowcat and how they warped her power, I was like, you know what? I can't. I can't do this anymore. So yeah, I am not a Bryan Singer fan. You know that. So that they're all just one train wreck for me. So it's a thing. But I was talking about Angela because I thought Angela would be a very good Marvel character to do a character.
Yeah, I'm actually honestly, I was really saddened that they only get like, it's like I think it was Neil Gaiman sold her off to Marvel, and they used her once.
Well, now they used her in 2 crossovers, but they were very minor.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, she had one series, like barely, and just like 1 or 2 appearances after. I think it was just more so to establish, hey, we have Angela now, and then it's all okay. We're done with the character. Thanks, Neil Gaiman. We're gonna put her on the shelf now and do nothing with this character.
Cool character. I
know. I got her first I got her first appearance in Spawn, and I was just like, I've always loved the concept of Angela. I thought she's a really cool character. I mean,
she is. And I love her too because she's queer. We don't have many of those in Marvel that are female. We have them, but you don't know them because they're never spotlighted. But Angela was like.
Yeah, well, even her integration into Marvel was done fairly well, establishing, heaven to the Marvel hell, the AGL. And I'm like, okay, that kind of works. I like that.
Plus, she's extremely hot, and I just wanted to do her when I was. That's what it is.
Fiery, saucy redhead. You can't go wrong with that.
So yeah, I guess that's my number 1. I would really love to have Angela. Angela would be Miss Angela O.
Angela would be cool. It's like Marvel do something with her, or give her back to Neil Gaiman so we can take her back to Image.
Yeah, well, I mean, and if we did that, we'd actually see more of the 9 realms too, which would be very cool. And then we probably have more Thor and Loki involved. Of course, we'd have Asgard involved. So all of it is a tie-in. Like I would love for her to have like a small role, in Love and Thunder. It's not going to happen though. It's not going to happen. But I would love to have her in some capacity, because I mean they've already, for me, they kind of messed Valkyrie up a little bit too. So, but that's the thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Or did we just get an entire movie about Frog Thor? Not really obscure, but
You would like that though. But no, no.
Yeah, give us the Zootopia version of a Thor movie. Like we get the alligator like Loki back, get Frog Thor and
Hammerhead. Yeah, Hammerhead.
Yeah, sure. Just use a hammerhead shark.
Like really like obscure villains from Marvel just have their, because why not? That's what the Arrowverse does. They bring in obscure villains and give them like redemption. So why not? What's another crazy one? The Human Fly. That's another one. Human Fly was actually in a few issues.
Oh, I got it. Forget Me Not needs a movie. Just an entire movie. This guy going around, stepping out of people's vision. Everybody's like, yeah, like no. The entire movie is just people doing random things, just going about their daily lives, and at the very end, it was about this guy the whole time that nobody could remember when he steps out of their view.
Well, I know it was Forget Me Not. I thought it was Forget Me Not or Most Forgotten. I can't remember. I think you're right. I think it is Forget Me Not. But that was Forget Me Not.
I liked the reveal that he was a central part of the X-Men and nobody knew about it. Like Professor Xavier had to mess with his own mind just to make sure he remembered the dude existed.
Well, and then I went to look up his power because I couldn't remember because we have a character in our motion comic that basically she has the ability to make you not pay attention to her, so she can do really bad shit around you, and you were just like, it's like you know she's there, you just don't care, so you don't attack her, you don't do anything. And this person I think had something similar, but I think it was more like you just didn't remember him. With
Forget Me Not, it's the minute he steps out of your field of vision, you completely forget he ever existed.
That's what it was. It was like imperceptibility. That's what it was.
Like, and I want the
being perceived.
Well, that's the thing. I want the backstory on that too, because I want to know how he survived being a baby if his powers are always there. Could you imagine, like, this kid's just born, and then everybody immediately steps out of the the hospital or the room because they forget there's a baby there.
Well, remember though, in X-Men lore, your powers developed in your
Usually don't
year,
develop
so,
until
like
you're
13 or something
hit
like that.
puberty.
Yeah, so he probably was fine as a baby, but yeah, one day he went to 7th or 8th grade and he came home and he was like, "Hey, mom, what's for dinner?" And she's like, turns around, "Oh, we're having chicken," and he moves to the right and she can't see him anymore, and she's like, "Who was I talking to?" He was like, "Mom."
Yeah, she just looks down. Wait, why am I setting 2 plates?
No, he's so messed up. You see what you started with this. Okay. Although I got a very good answer for what in terms of the ignorant side of YouTube internet. It's woke, and this woman isn't supposed to. This woman isn't supposed to be save the MC and make him the damsel.
Yeah, the way that side of the internet does it's whamming.
Whamming.
Wham.
Why is it wham? I can't look because I am female. I don't want to learn how to say it. It's too ignorant. I'm like, that's what that's about. I will tell you this: people don't understand. You're like, why would you take people out? If you get like a very good like garlic mincer into somebody's balls, you don't gotta fight. I'm like just saying, you don't have to fight. There are ways around that. Women can, some women can stand up for themselves. They don't need it. They don't need no man or woman to come save them. So Layla just happens to be the latter. I mean, quite frankly, the way Steven is acting in this is not canon either. Why aren't they saying anything about that? So, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but he is being the P word, a little bit of a pussy. So, I know.
You said
I said it with pride.
Oh.
I don't even know who that is. Pretty obscure. Oh, if you don't know who we're talking about, yeah, I guess that is. Cobra is a Chinese mystical kung fu master, immortal weapon related to Iron Fist mythos. I know who Cobra is. Or Fat Cobra. I know who Fat Cobra is. Just like Chain. Was it Chain? Chain or something? Which obscure character would you pick, Mercenary? This is a game. It's the fact that Arthur is so soft-spoken that he sounds understanding and anyone can actually trust him because of it. I guess I can see that. Magneto was kind of like that in live action.
I mean, it depends. If I saw a guy like Arthur Harrow on the street, I'd probably be like, okay, yeah, you look like you run a freaking cult. But,
I would too, because he's got the shaggy hair. I'm like, what?
Exactly, dude. It's the clothes, it's the cane, it's the hair. I'm like, dude, you reminded me of that whole cult thing back in the 90s that killed themselves with the fruit punch.
Why? Just why? Was it fruit punch? Was it? It might have been.
I think it was.
High C. I don't know.
I know it was some kind of Kool-Aid thing that they drank. Which kind of gave rise to the phrase, at least as far as I'm aware. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Man, you don't understand back in the day growing up, because Kool-Aid was like $24 every flavor.
$24 every
drink it. You could put it in your hair. You could do all kinds. Make Jello out of it. That was a shiz.
No. For us, it was Nestle's Quick. Because a lot of people were thinking, man, like we heard about speed, so it's like speed, quick. Maybe there's some kind of connection. So one time I just sit there. I took the chocolate powder, right, and I lined it up, and I snorted it.
And you're explaining a lot right now. Now I understand. I basically have learned everything I need to know about what happened to you, Joe. That's
Did
awesome.
it with Pixie Dust too. That's right.
Well, my friends started putting like Pop Rocks in like Dr. Pepper to see if their brains would explode. Because for some reason you have to know, right? It's like, the urban myth, your brain will explode.
Well, yeah, you have to test it out, and if nothing happens, hey, great. And if it does, well, then you just prove the theory correct. It's all good.
Do you understand that this is why we have the POC theory? We don't listen to that. I'm like, no, that's not what we do. You do it, and you cross that non-critical line, so we don't have to. I'm like, you have fun with that. No, it's like wearing sandals out in 10-degree weather. You have a good time with that. I'm like, not happening. Nope. Let's see.
Or sandals with socks in 90-degree weather. That one gets me.
Yeah, that's kind of bad too. Or full-on hoodies and 112. They said the name Mark.
Dude, no, when my wife and I went to Universal Studios a couple years ago, we saw people, it's like, you must live here, man, because they're wearing hoodies, jeans, and it's like freaking almost 100 degrees out. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there like we just come from Alaska. And, oh my God, you just stepped off the plane. I'm just
you lost all the water from your body.
Yeah, no, they even told us, like, when we left the airport, they're like, hey, just so you know, you might want to start drinking a shit ton of water before we land in Florida, all you Alaskans. You know, like, heck, I remember when my mom visited me in Texas, from Pennsylvania, and I told her the same thing. Hey, Mom, make sure you start drinking a lot of water, right? She literally comes outside in Texas, and she hits the bench. Like, she has to sit down immediately, and I was like, come on, did you drink water? She's like, well, I had some Coke on the plane.
I would have been like, nope, not today. Not today. Well, I live in Memphis though, and our humidity and heat's amazing here. Like you literally would die from heat stroke if you went out in June in this city. Ethan Hawke is really nailing it as Harrow, though I will say I'm not familiar with his comic counterpart. Okay, that's fair. I mean, like I said, Harrow.
It's a departure, but Hawke is doing a good job for sure. Though I tell you though, the first time I saw Ethan Hawke in the role with the long hair, there was like a second I took a glance. I was like, is that Kevin Bacon?
Why? Well,
because you ever seen Kevin Bacon in the movie Tremors? He's got the longer hair and stuff like that, and I don't know why, but I was like, wow, you put some longer hair on Ethan Hawke, he kind of looks a little bit like Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to this comment. I got to do this one right here. I didn't know what the hell that thing was. It looked like the creature from the first Scooby-Doo movie. I think it's supposed to be a jackal. Honestly, I do.
They called it an Egyptian jackal, I believe.
Yeah,
I just call it the hellhound.
Yeah, they said the name Mark so much that I can't remember how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Merc.
Ethan Hawke is really nailing it as Harrow, and like I said, I know you said you're not familiar with it, but if you read the new releases of it, I think that he's going to have a bigger role. Because as far as I'm concerned, he did have a role in Moon Knight, but he fought a lot of villains. He's not the most major player in the Moon Knight series.
Yeah, but I will say one of the negative aspects about it being on Disney Plus, and this was always my kind of thing, is I wish to hell that they took some of those Moon Knight memes that came out and made them real. Like the one of him throwing the stuff and then of his weapons is like, random bullshit, go. We're never gonna see that, or the one where he's walking down Dracula's stairs. Hey, Dracula, where are you at? Where's my money, you fucking nerd?
He could have a Guyver moment. And then
I seriously wish Disney would have seen those memes and was like, okay, let's put this shit on Hulu and make that happen.
Why?
People would have lost their minds.
Why?
I don't know. Here's what we can do.
Too.
Yeah. Well, I guess here's what we can do. We can look up. See if Oscar Isaac's may be on that one cameo app and get him to say those lines. We'll pull our money together. Let's make it happen.
Make it happen, people. Make it happen. No, I think it'd be interesting if Oscar. First, like I said, the person that is show running and directing Moon Knight is doing the Nova series or movie. I guess they're doing a movie. And it'll be interesting if he actually has them meet. Because I don't know how that would play out, but that would be very interesting to see too, and a very interesting meme. They have said is what inspired the MCU Moon Knight suit is the Earth X suit and the modern suit in the comics. Like a little freaky hybrid. I'm like, I thought they were just inspired by watching Garo. Because Garo has really similar suits in the Japanese series. Ben Affleck is the original Daredevil to me, but the current Daredevil is cool too. I like Ben Affleck, honestly, as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I'm not going to lie. He did a good job as Batman and Bruce Wayne.
He just needed better material. That's all.
He did. From what little he was, I actually liked how he portrayed him. I mean, it's just
I mean, even go back to his Daredevil movie. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I like the director's cut. I'll say. I will defend the director's cut of that movie. I think as the more completed movie, it was definitely better. But of course, the way they hacked it up for the theatrical release, I was like, didn't work out too well.
All right, so the movie comes out for us here on May 5th too. So, okay, that's fine. I don't have to fly to the UK now, Ryan, because I was about to cry inside. But we get it on the same day, and I will be seeing it on May 5th as well. So, yay. Only Joe will not see it. He will see it in August. because in Japan,
I will see it when when it hits Disney Plus. That's that reality.
maybe they can't release it fast enough there because they have to do Japanese subtitles. The UK, you won't have to do that.
Well, they do a Japanese subtitles and they do a dub.
There you go. That's the holdup. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, well, plus the only movie theater we have within that 20-mile radius. I mean, we have to drive over an hour to go to the next big city for those movie theaters too. But even then, yeah, American movies don't last long in the theaters around here.
That's pretty sad, actually. I've heard both Daredevil and Moon Knight be compared to Batman. I'm thinking they want Daredevil to be the urban gothic vigilante of the MCU, while Moon Knight will be more of a supernatural adventurer. Huh. I mean, I would say it's plausible. I guess my only problem with that is, well, where does that put, characters like Punisher? Because he goes around giving the justice too. I mean, honestly, if you really think about it, you don't need to revive the goddess. You just need to go with Frank Castle and have him go take people out before they do the crime. So I don't know. I feel like I don't see a connection between Daredevil and Moon Knight in terms of their roles, but I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that see it. I just don't see it. I see them as very, very different characters. So I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't. Who would be an equivalent of Daredevil in the DC universe? Huh.
Wildcat?
No. Wildcat's way too gruff. Ted's way too gruff. I need somebody who, first of all, I would love to have somebody who had a handicap. And also,
well, I mean, we're not going to find a blind lawyer in the DC universe,
which is so interesting because I mean, you really can find a lot of characters, or a few you can't, but a lot of characters tit for tat between DC and Marvel because they copy each other.
Yeah, I mean, the other reason I say Wildcat is he's that street level vigilante type and stuff like that. I mean, as for finding a 1-to-1 version of Daredevil in the DC universe, I don't think there are any. Like, Daredevil in and himself is pretty unique.
Yeah. I'm racking my brain to think if I can find one character in the DC universe that kind of reminds me of Daredevil, and I just can't.
Yeah, like I said, Wildcat's the closest I can think of in terms of that street level vigilante type.
I mean, you can go to the Bat family, maybe.
I mean, I guess if you want to go to the Bat family and say like Nightwing or something.
I was thinking Nightwing. Grayson, definitely. But yeah, I can't think of. I'm like, and it's really weird. There's probably some, there's so many teams that we don't focus on. Like Infinity Inc., which is one of my favorite teams in the DC universe. There may be so many obscure characters that just come in and out, and I'm not thinking straight. And I'll probably we'll leave the stream, and then I'll be like, "Ha, Eureka!" But right now, I can't tit for tat. Outside of Nightwing, I can't think of anybody. I really can't think of anybody that will remind me of Daredevil. That's interesting. Interesting. People also complain that the MCU will get rid of his Jewish roots based off the special thanks credits and the pre-screener for Ep 5. He's still Jewish, and that's when they addressed his DID. So this is a thing that is interesting. I don't know if he actually is still Jewish in the show, but Oscar said his father used to be Jewish, but then in another interview, he did say he was an evangelist. So I'm confused on the actor himself. I have no idea what his religion actually is. I think
his religion has DID.
I mean, that's what it seems like. So maybe that's why he was cast in the role. But when we live in a society where they want authenticity, where they want representation.
We live in a society.
So I know there's a lot of people, especially people that are Jewish, that are like, I would love to see myself on the screen as a superhero, because when you have something in common with a character, you're like, that's me, even though that's not you. They probably are in their feelings about that, and all I can say is it's effing Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't give a shit about representation. The only reason they even talk about it is because they don't want to be thrown under the bus. But when it comes down to it, it doesn't mean a damn thing. They are not caring.
Oh no, when it comes to Hollywood and really a lot of times media in general, representation is more of a checkbox than something they actually want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody was really caring about the BLM movement until it became popular, and then everybody's talking about BLM. That is literally, it's to the point where it's marketable. So you're seeing it everywhere, and I'm like, wow, that's literally the amount of concern. It's the same with Pride. Disney does Pride every year. Why? For what reason? There's no reason Disney should ever be involved in Pride Month. They are making money off of something they spend the rest of the year basically against. So
no, that's exactly it. And actually there was this one channel, I want to say was it on Cracked? I can't remember if it was the Cracked channel or whatnot, but like somebody actually did a skit of that and was like talking about Pride Month, and it's just like, we here at the corporations and stuff want to know that we back you. So please come buy all of our merchandise for the entire month, or afterwards we will completely stop all support for you for a whole nother year. Basically.
Across the board. I remember Hallmark did it too. And then they finally started releasing movies after 18 years. Finally had movies that were LGBT themed, and only a couple. For every one LGBTQ plus themed movie, you have 12 new ones that are heterosexual. That's just what it is. But on Pride Month, they got to put that rainbow right. You got to put the rainbow up. Come on now. This is my favorite comment so far, guys. Low-key conspiracy theory. Forget Me Not was inspired by Judy Winslow from Family Matters. To add on to that, Forget Me Not is Judy Wilson from Family Matters. You just think it's a man.
There you go.
Went upstairs she never came back. She never fucking came back.
That's what I read, was that she went up the stairs. Actually, I saw a video, a guy talk about that. Apparently, that's not entirely true. It wasn't that. Like, you actually, the last thing you see her do is walk out the door. But even then, it's just kind of like,
went away. She just went away.
It was very interesting. It was just one minute she was there, and the next minute they're all like, "What's it, Judy?"
Well, and then look, like literally in the caption, it says, in the series' 4th season, her character simply disappeared at the age of 13 with no explanation as to why. Oh, like, wow.
Not a very good cop, are you, Carl?
They said it, and so one of the reasons I read though is that they couldn't afford her character because they were.
Yeah, well, in terms of characters, anyway, from the start, like, she was very much that character that was kind of like just there. She didn't really have any big arcs or anything in the show, as far as I remember.
Yeah, but to think about a character that's been in the series since the beginning to just go away in season 4, and it's like.
Especially in sitcoms, it happens where characters come and go, and half the time you have to even try to remember they existed somewhat. But yeah, with Judy, it was just sort of like, it was a very odd experience. But the weird thing is, too, as an audience, it's not really only until a few years ago did I even see anybody really talk about that either. Because, like, even as I'm watching it happened, because I watched that show growing up, and like, even as it happened, I'm like, it never registered in my brain. I was a kid at the time too, so I was like, but even so, I didn't really see any adults react to that either back in the day.
It was always hilarious to me. I remember seeing it as it aired and being like, where did that child go? It's just gone. Like, that's not how that works. Dark Hawk, isn't that?
Maybe.
Oh, he's the one that uses the necklace or the amulet, right?
Yeah. He's he's part of, like, it's like a suit that comes on him and stuff like that. And there's been a couple over the years.
It was like a robot that he was able to control or something like that he can use as kind of like what's the show? I'm always relating this to Japanese Sentai or like anime I've seen for some reason. I can't remember.
It's very Ultraman-like, I would say.
But there's one with
that was the comparison I made when I talked about the most recent Dark Hawk run, which
is Is it
I was a little
Gatchaman? Is it Gatchaman?
depressed.
Gatchaman.
G-Force.
That's what I was thinking about. Gatchaman. Yeah,
Gotcha, man.
Ah,
AKA G-Force.
that would be an obscure one. I like that, Darkhawk. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, Darkhawk's definitely a character that's cool looking, but it's not the most memorable.
Yeah,
except for the way he looks. I've never really been blown away by a run that guy's had.
I reserve the rights to pint and laugh at Tar McFarlane if Angela becomes a multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Oh no! The most interesting bit was when Todd actually took Neil to courts over the rights to Angela, and was like, she first appeared in Spawn. That means she's mine. And it was like, and then Neil Gaiman was literally just image creator rights. That was your motto.
Yep.
Fuck.
Yep. What do you think of the Elektra movie? So
what
don't get
Elektra
mad at
movie?
me, Jermaine. I haven't watched the old version with Jennifer Garner from Alias. That's where I knew her from. Was Alias. I haven't watched that movie. So I have no.
Count your blessings.
I just
count your blessings.
Are they making a new Elektra movie? Because I was actually I kind of thought the reinvention of her in Netflix was not bad. So, if they were going to use that actress and her storyline, I would be down with that. It's basically confirmed that both Kingpin and Daredevil are going to be in the Echo TV series. What? And co-leads thanks to one of the Marvel Studios costume designers updating her resume. Wow. I mean, it kind of makes. I knew that Kingpin would definitely be in there, but now I guess it kind of makes sense that Daredevil would be too, if you really think about it. I'm here for that. I guess maybe they threw him in the Spider-Man, in a Spider-Man No Way Home movie as a cameo for a reason, huh? There's a comic where Elektra. I mean, I knew they were trying to bring him in, but that means because I know a lot of the Netflix.
I mean, yeah, he was the most successful of all the Netflix Marvel shows. So
yeah, I liked a lot of them. I didn't. Iron Fist was kind of boring to me. I really love
Iron Fist could have. Yeah, I know Iron Fist could have been cool if they had taken more time to develop it. That was like Iron Fist's biggest flaw in the end, was that it was a rush job versus Daredevil, which actually had time and stuff like that to develop. And Jessica Jones, was so fairly low budget. They were able to kind of make it work. Luke Cage. I mean, Mike Coulter, that was just great casting. That first season of Luke Cage was.
Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones was very good, though. I really liked her.
Oh no! Like as far as casting goes, I didn't hate the casting for any of the for the Netflix characters.
Yeah, I really wasn't into Danny's actor Finn that much in Iron Fist. I'm really not.
For me, I think it was just the fact that, again, it was just a time thing. He didn't have time to get in proper shape. He didn't have time to learn the moves. So they were just
it didn't have anything to do with his fighting. Just from an acting standpoint, he was just slow. I don't know what it was. It was just he's very slow to react when he was having breakdowns. And
I don't know. I thought his acting was decent for what they gave him.
Yeah, I disagree. So anyway, but back to
well, I disagree with your disagree. So there.
I don't care. We'll disagree on your channel.
Girlfriend, snap your fingers at me.
Mm-hmm. Look, you're right. Let me snap both. Bam. So Luke Cage season 1 was good, but season 2 kind of pissed me off a lot, especially how they ended it and then canceled it. So it's like you made him a effing villain, and now that's it.
Well, that was the thing with all of the Netflix Marvel shows, is they all ended on these cliffhangers, which we're never going to get resolutions to, except for maybe Daredevil. And I'm actually wondering how they're going to approach that, because those first 3 seasons of Daredevil are extremely brutal, and I'm just like, now you're going to make the Disney Plus version for season 4? But
they might still stick to that, because Disney has been known to put in some violence in some of their live action stuff. So they might. If they thought they would make more money, Disney's pretty open to anything. So, I mean, if you really put it out there. So I think they probably do it or they would do it in a way where there's an uncut version and then a cut version.
I will be right back. I'm going to go check on my.
Alrighty. So basically, I think having Daredevil be an Echo with Kingpin actually kind of tracks to me, as long as it's done really well. I have no problem with it. I really enjoy the actor they have for Kingpin. I loved him in the Netflix series, and of course I love the actor for Daredevil. So I think that him and Matt will be fun. I think it would be fun. I think they would beat the hell out of each other, and just have an Echo in the middle of that would be funny. There's a comic where Electro's currently wearing the mantle of Daredevil as a favor to Matt. Is that... There is a comic run where everybody forgets, like they forget that he is, yeah, they forget that he's Daredevil. It's something to do with Purple Man or Purple Man's kids. It's crazy. And that she forgot too. So I mean, it's interesting. Like I said, they have some very cool Daredevil runs, and they have some really weird Daredevil runs. So, but yeah, I'll have to check that out. If it's, I don't know if that's in the past or if that's current, but I have Comixology, so I have no problem looking it up. There's a lot they can do with Darkhawk. I believe it. I believe it. He could be Gotcha Man. Gotcha Man. And when I saw the new Spider-Man movie and when Toby's Spider-Man showed up, I was the only one clapping, but no one else was. I was confused on that. Well, it depends on the age of the people that were in the theater. They may not have remembered him being Spider-Man. They probably like, who is this guy? It's when Toby showed up in this first scene. I was the only one clapping in the movie theater I was in. So I was clapping too, but I was in the drive-in. So I don't know if anybody in their cars were clapping, and I just didn't care because I don't go to theaters anymore. And basically canceling shows with LGBTQ, IAQ plus representation, like the Owl House. I don't know if that show has been renewed or not. So no, from what I can tell, this is the last season of the Owl House. I think they're getting 1 or 2 movies for the Owl House, and that is it. And yeah, it irritates the hell out of me, but it is what it is. I'm used to it. And as soon as we realized that this was a Disney Channel show, we should have known that it was going to be this way. I wish the Zeta Project was brought into the comics. Oh, that would be cool. There's so many things I want to have comics. Honestly, now I want them to have a continuation of the Owl House on comics. That would be cool. Speaking of family matters, did I do that? Did I do that? Oh my God, Urkel. No, the robot would be Rom. Darkheart is just a spacesuit. It's very much like Nova. Okay, there's a whole bunch of them called Raptors or something like that. It's been a minute. This character is very obscure for me. I just remember them being in like some kind of necklace or amulet that he had. I do remember that. It's been a spell. It's been a spell. I like the current Darkheart. It was cute, many with an interesting character with multiple sclerosis. Oh wow. That's cool. I love when they incorporate them having challenges. Like, I think that's probably why I love Jessica Cruz so much in Lanterns. It's because of her PTSD and anxiety. I think that's because I have anxiety disorder. So it's like, I love when the character is able to do what she needs to do, but still has that disorder. I hate when they give you a disorder in like one run of a comic and then it never comes back or never affects you. It's not realistic. So it's stupid. Iron Fist was bad casting, period. I agree with that. Hashtag Serenity Truth. The actor who played Iron Fist actually refused to do the months of training his role required. Oh, wow. Your audio's off.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's not the way I heard it, but I mean, it could always be true.
Well, we have a rule on this channel. Unless we were there, we're not going to speculate.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, so either way, like I said, my problem wasn't with training. It was with acting. I am not an acting job. I just look, quiet you. I just learned through my many years of musical theater, my many years of college and theater and film, that there are ways you approach roles, and every actor is different. And I try not to judge it, but like there was a thing called lazy acting, and I felt like that character was just, you can tell when a character or an actor is there for a check. It is very evident in the way they perform, and that's kind of how I felt with him. So it's just what it is. We can have different opinions, Joe.
No, we can't. This is the internet. One side is right, one side is wrong.
You know what? I'm tired of you. You're such a bully, really, like for real. Jessica Jones and Luke Cage had the same problem as Daredevil. New showrunners not knowing where to go from season 1. All 3 had great first seasons and mass sequels. That's true. Jessica Jones, for me, I think the most annoying concept for her was Trish. That character got on my fucking nerves.
Oh my God. Especially in the second season. I was like,
all the time.
When she basically forced what's his name to do the inhaling thing, and I'm like,
yeah, I couldn't stand that character. That's why my very first video when I created this channel was, is Trish the main villain or the real villain of Jessica Jones? Because I feel like it was.
Just go back to it and just rename it. Trish is trash.
I mean, it's not far from the truth. But it's so hard for me because the real, Patsy is not anything like Trish.
Yeah, Patsy Walker, Hellcat.
And
This
so
is like,
when you
I know.
yeah,
The
it's
entire time I'm
completely
like, that's yeah. From season 2, I'm like, this is supposed to be Hellcat. I'm like, God.
the only thing hell
Bitch.
about her was her attitude. She got on my damn nerves. I only love Daredevil season 2 for Elektra's part. The rest of it, I ignore. I get it. I understand. Also, some of the people in the writer's room of the Echo TV series has also worked on Netflix's Daredevil and Punisher. I'm glad they're getting work. Like, for real.
Okay,
I will tell you
that's
this. I
good.
have not finished season 2 of Punisher. I need to. But when it came out, I was not feeling very well. Like I was sick. So like, life goes on and other stuff comes out. So I just never went back. And so I'm so behind. I need to, me and my spouse have a mission to finish like the Punisher show on Netflix, or hopefully it's on Disney Plus now, but be able to roll over and watch these, because I'm telling you, I saw season 1 and I actually enjoyed season 1 of the Netflix version of Punisher, but I never saw the sequel to it. So I definitely need to see what the hype is about. I haven't even read reviews about it because I didn't want to be spoiled by anything. So
Well, head on over to Disney Plus, set your rating to mature, and have at it.
That's what I'm saying. If they have Punisher on there, then they, of course they'll keep all the stuff from Daredevil, because they have Daredevil on there. So
Yeah, though I thought that was like the most hilarious thing when I opened up Disney Plus that day, that they went over there. We now have mature content. And then what is it? I remember on like Facebook, like there were like sections of it just freaking out, like parents freaking out, like, wait, this is Disney Plus. It's supposed to be all family friendly.
no, this is according to to Serenity, the new Daredevil run is current. So basically Matt went to jail. So Elektra was Daredevil while he was in, protecting his city for him. Now he's out and they are 2 devils together. There's also a Devil's Reign. Wow, I might need to check that out. That sounds cool as hell.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was gonna say too, though, if you haven't been reading the Chip Zdarsky Daredevil, go check that out. It's been a phenomenal run.
Oh, has it? Yeah.
Oh my God, Chip Zdarsky's run, yeah, it's definitely been a good run.
I'm gonna have to. I will tell you guys. I'm telling you, I'm doing my best. Every time I make a plan, Joe will tell you something effing happens. I actually Marco Polo each other. My Sunday, his Monday, because I think it's your Tuesday today, right? So I got up. I went walking with my spouse. Our stream was not till 3 p.m. my time, 5 a.m. his time. My internet went out. My internet out all the way till like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And like, I had all of the stuff I needed to do, and I couldn't get any of it done. And it wasn't just my YouTube channel. I also, again, if you guys don't know, I also do voiceovers. So I do commercials, I do auditions for anime, video games, and things like that. I had all the stuff I needed to do, and I could not do anything because my internet was gone. And this is a continuous problem in my very old ass apartment building with Xfinity that I am locked in. I can't even switch providers because this whole complex has an exclusive contract that makes them proprietary. I cannot go to AT&T or anybody else in this neighborhood. As long as I live in this building until my lease is up, I cannot get a new internet provider. It blows. The amount of money I pay for the highest tier of internet is ridiculous when it doesn't work. So I'm in my feelings. So just put it out there. So when I get in here, guys, and you see my community tab, I'm just like, I'm sorry, the internet's down. I'm just letting you know. I'm using data to update on my community tab because I got nothing in my house and it's bullshit. So yeah, that's where it's at. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. But that is why some of my stuff, like my streams, get pushed or videos don't get uploaded. It's my internet problem. It absolutely blows. So yeah, and it even
I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I have to jack into everything internet wise, or the signal doesn't reach across the apartment.
I forgot about that cable issue you had. Well, now like when I say we pay for the highest tier, I mean we pay almost $200 a month just for internet. And so yeah, I'm in my feelings. And I get credited, but like I'm tired of getting credited. I want my internet to work. But we have to because everybody here works from home and we have to run, like even my spouse's job is very Zoom and event heavy and you need the internet. So you have to be hardwired. So like my daughter works for Nintendo and she's, she also works for Screen Rant, but they have to always be talking to people on the internet. And so when the internet goes down, we're SOL. So it's crazy. It's affecting everything. So it's a problem, guys. It is a problem. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you about Orphan Black. They are making a show called Orphan Black Echoes, which is in 2023. That's all I know so far. Oh wow. Wow. I really thought they were done with that. Honestly, that's pretty cool. I know a lot of people are probably wishing they remade Killing Eve right now, season 4, since it was the last season. I've been seeing a lot of people messaging on Facebook and popping up on Instagram, pissed off. I have not seen it, so I can't spoil anything. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. I know it's based on a book series, but now it's not making me want to watch season 3 and 4. So it's a thing. Devil's Reign takes place after Matt gets out of jail and Civil War was reduced. Okay. Kingpin has harnessed Purple Man's powers for himself and remembers Matt as Daredevil. He outlaws superheroes in New York. I remember that because I remember Elektra forgetting at one point that he was Daredevil, which is kind of bad because they were a thing. And I can't remember if that was the series where he kept playing chess with Reed Richards, and then Reed was like, I'm one of the smartest people on the planet, and you came to me for advice or something. And I'm busy, man, or something. It was something weird like that. And they had to have like an intervention with Spider-Man and with Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I think that's that run, but I have to go back and look at it. I feel you, Marie. I woke up to work out, but ended up cleaning the house and doing chores instead. Now I'm organizing my Xena Warrior Princess collection. Oh, Xena, my girl. My fat divine still hasn't done one push-up. I actually was good this morning though. I did my workout this morning. I was cool. I converted my bedroom into a gym, so I have all my equipment in there because I can't.
Yeah.
Breathe, so
I'll do my workout after I get her to preschool for the day.
Oh yeah, preschool. It's probably almost time for her to go, isn't it?
It's 6:43. Yeah, I do gotta get going here in a few minutes. Gotta feed her breakfast and stuff, and I gotta make some rice.
Is Bullseye still alive or dead? I don't remember.
In the comics or the show?
I'm gonna say, in which vehicle are you talking about in the show?
Yeah, because in the show, like at the end of season 3, he was getting worked on, and they did the whole like thing with the cybernetic eyes and stuff.
No, I don't think. No, it wasn't his spine like messed up or something.
Yeah, his spine was messed up, but at the very end, they were like doing some kind of like experiment on him, and like he opened up his eyes and it was kind of like looked a little robotic or something like that. Oh, okay, the movie. Oh, the movie. If you're talking about the Ben Affleck movie, yes, he was alive.
He was alive, yeah. But in the I remember in the comics something happened with his spine. Or maybe Daredevil killed him. Didn't he?
In the comics?
Hold up. I gotta go look at this.
It has been a minute since I've probably I don't remember.
I can't remember that either. Hold on. I think there's one version of the comics where he gets killed by Daredevil. I do think that did happen. I don't know why. I just remember that happening.
I mean, it probably did happen, but of course, comics. So eventually came back to life or something.
I mean, I don't take death seriously because it's retconned all the damn time. So it's just.
Oh yeah, no. Ever since God forbid, I still love it, but ever since Death of Superman, Return of Superman, that just like
I love that.
Studios were suddenly like, wait, death doesn't have to be permanent in comics.
I remember that video. I remember if somebody posted the Death of Superman, basically killed death in comics on the YouTube. It might still be up there somewhere, but that was absolutely crazy.
I mean, there's been so many videos that have covered that specific topic, but yeah.
But Jermaine, as far as the movie, Bullseye's still alive. As far as the comics, he's been paralyzed, he's been killed, he's been revived, he's been retconned, he's been whatever. I keep forgetting he lives in Japan. I was like, breakfast, bro, it's almost their time. Yeah, it's like 6-something in the morning there.
Yeah, it's 6:45 in the morning right now. And what is it? Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, she's got a dentist appointment at 8:22, so I got to make sure to.
That's what we're about to end this stream because we're almost at an hour and 40 minutes, because that's a thing. And it's 4:45 p.m., so it's almost time for me to get my shiz together because I have to make dinner for people in this house. So that is a thing too. But yeah, overall thoughts on Moon Knight.
Come here, sweetie.
Oh, so cute. Overall thoughts on Moon Knight episode 2, pretty good. Like I said, it's its own thing, and I'm here for it. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Harrow. I think the meat of this story is going to happen somewhere in between episodes 3 and 4. More likely, this week's episode is going to be the one to watch, though. That's normally how it goes when it's 6 or 7 episodes. 3 sets up the real story that takes off through 4 to 6. So this is definitely one that we will need to watch, which means, Joe, we're going to have to set up another time to review episode 3.
That is accurate. And yeah, I definitely share the same sentiments. It's, again, it's a bit different from the comics and stuff, but, I've come to terms with that already. And, and I'm not like, the biggest Moon Knight fanboy, so I'm okay with a little deviation from the source material, as long as the show itself is entertaining, and this show is definitely entertaining.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the shows that you want to see again. It's not one of those shows where you're like predicting the plot already, so there's no bother watching it. So I am here for what they're doing so far. Like I said, I know there's going to be a lot of like real hardcore comic book people that are going to be nitpicking, especially in the suits in this episode 2. But it is what it is. I'm used to it. It's MCU.
Yeah.
They all do.
But hey, episode 3, we're in Egypt. We're in Egypt
now. At the end of episode 2, he opened the window and blah blah. Egyptian, statues. I think I want to say they were in Cairo, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember if they were actually in Cairo. But yeah,
I mean, they probably are. It's like
every comic book.
It's like the number 1 filming location for film.
Yep, is in Cairo. All right, guys, we love you. You guys are awesome. Me and Joe are planning to do a video or a live stream. We haven't decided on the TV show From. If you have not seen it on Epix, it is epic and crazy, and we have lots of stuff to talk about.
We just watched episode 10 last night.
Yep. It is a mess. Man. The whole season's a mess, but it's a mess. If you have not checked it out, please do. I think you will really enjoy the struggle. It's a good mess. It is a very good mess. It has the same producers as Lost and a bunch of other mind mess with you, shows.
Yeah, I saw the Russos pop up in the producers credits, and I'm like, okay, so we got the the directors of like Captain America, Winter Soldier through Avengers Endgame and stuff. I'm like, all right, I'm here for it.
And you'll definitely introduce you'll eventually recognize some of the cast too. They have some newcomers, but we do have some people that you'll recognize as well in it. So
the name of the show is From.
It is From, From.
You might, when you Google it, I recommend you put From Epix or Epix Show From, because if you just put From, you're not going to find it.
Yeah. And it is only on Epix, but they are doing a 7-day trial. So there you go.
Yeah, you can. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get the Epix extension. I think do that too.
Epix's website also had the 7-day trial in there too, so you might want to check it out. It was last week.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so check it out. But we are going to be doing our season review because there's only 10 episodes. And the way it ended was crazy. So we have a lot of theories on what's going on. So we're going to be planning that video for you guys so we can talk about that. I am going to be uploading our Upload season 2 video that we already filmed this week too. So be on the lookout for that, as well as my Flash and Kung Fu videos. I know they're late, but internet problems. I'm sorry, guys. All right, guys, we love you. Make sure to put your theories, comments, concerns, everything down below. Make sure to go to Joe's Geek Show and subscribe to all of his comic book and movie review and TV reviews that he does, as well as his really funny shorts that he puts out because I think they're hilarious. And if it is day for you guys, have a good day. If it is evening for you guys, have a good evening. And we will see you in our next combo collaborative stream. Bye, guys.
Bye.